allow me to introduce our upcoming distinguished speaker to all of you. With over 17 plus years of experience, he has made remarkable strides in the world of technology. Currently serving as a technical director for automation and DevOps projects in Dell EMC's consulting division, he has been at the forefront of designing and implementing cutting-edge solutions for global customers. In his illustrious career, he has accomplished numerous feats, including the design of release templates for mission-critical applications and the development of reusable release templates for microservices, containers, and Kubernetes deployments. His work has been instrumental in streamlining operations and ensuring seamless deployments for complex and diverse environments. As a technical director at Dell EMC, he bears the responsibility of designing robust DevOps, IAC, and SRE solutions, bringing innovation and efficiency to Dell EMC's global clientele. And moreover, he provides North Star architecture patterns for outcome-driven accelerators, laying the groundwork for successful transformations and accelerated business outcomes. In this era, when cultural transformation is the key to unlocking the full potential of development teams, our speaker today will touch upon a systematic approach to fostering a culture of continuous improvement, collaboration, and innovation within the development teams. He will share invaluable insights on creating an environment that encourages creativity, embraces challenges, and nurtures individual growth. So without much further ado, please join me in welcoming and giving a big round of applause to the exceptional Mr. Raghavendra Guttur, Technical Director, DevOps, ISC Consulting. Can you please have a big round of applause for Raghavendra, please?
Thanks, Riya. I think the crowd is getting low. I mean, as we get into the number of sessions, but I think you might not find slides as good as the previous sessions because those are all kind of marketing slides, but these are the slides that are prepared by an engineer for an example, right? So in this particular session, we are going to talk about value stream mapping and how exactly value stream mapping is going to be important for infrastructure as code. So for today's agenda, we are going to talk about why exactly do we need to leverage value stream mapping, specifically for IAC, and the business benefits, and also with respect to the process efficiency gains that we are going to see with the help of value stream mapping. And we will also touch base with respect to some of the real-time implementation use cases and also some of the questions as well. So when we look into the value stream mapping, right, from an example perspective, it's typically putting across a process mind map, specifically where we apply the lean process technique to understand or visualize what that particular process is all about. Because when Harpreet was talking about some of the continuous validation, observability, put the reliability while you would do the designing part of, for your applications, for an example, I think that's how you are shifting the game from shift left, right? So, but however, when we keep on going from left to right, I think this is probably one of the first steps that we have to do when it comes to the value stream mapping, because this will help us to understand what exactly are we trying to achieve from the business requirements perspective and the process that we are going to actually build for the end users. So if you look into value stream mapping, right, it is going to help us in identifying and prioritizing the overall process landscape, which is going to help us in measuring specifically the process efficiency and also how it actually drives the digital transformation programs that are running in the organization. And value stream mapping can be applied for DevOps or IAC, data management, application test and release activities, infrastructure deployment, change management, incident management, so on and so forth, some of the examples. And we, part of Dell EMC Consulting, we effectively use value stream mapping like an advisory offering before even we start writing a code for our customers, right? Or even doing some of the consulting work for our customers, because this will help us to actually collaborate with our customers and also the engineering teams of the customers to understand the current challenges in a much better way. Though we have the business requirements document, it is good to read, but this is the kind of a workshop that we do where we do the whiteboarding session, understand the actual problems, and also come back with some of the action items, typically which is going to help us in giving some of the business gains or the process efficiency gains. So that's the kind of a sample output that we do. I mean, if you see that as is, I mean, which is nothing but the current state of the process, where we are going to talk about what is the value added time that is actually available in the process, and also some of the non-value added time in the process or inefficiencies in the process, which is actually marked in that red color. Right? So putting it all together, this is what a definition of value stream mapping, where it is going to give kind of a holistic view of your process. Can it be for the DevOps? Can it be for the IAC, so on and so forth? So having this particular definition, we will see how this particular value stream mapping will be helpful for infrastructure as code, because infrastructure as code is what kind of a activity that I keep on do day in, day out, right? So if you take that particular example, I mean, if you see that current scripted process, let's say, I mean, there is actually a ticket that is actually created for the operations team to put a particular host into a maintenance mode. So the first step is that ticket is coming, and they are actually waiting for that schedule to drop that particular host or a server into the maintenance mode. But the challenge is there is a lot of manual handoffs. And while we do that particular handoff from one step to another step, the challenge is again that particular engineering is waiting for 2 or 3 hours to bring it back from the maintenance mode to the actual availability mode, for an example. But if you see, that entire process is taking roughly around 2 hours. And actually, the actual work is happening for 18 minutes, but the remaining time is actually being called out as an inefficiency, because he's literally killing the time waiting to complete that particular maintenance window. But however, if we automate that particular process by bringing any of the ISC tool, let's say Ansible or Puppet, for an example, that is going to improve your efficiency, because the machine is going to automate that process. You're drastically going to reduce the inefficiency in the process and increase the efficiency, right? So this is kind of an outcome that we typically see when we do the value stream mapping and attaching an automation tool on top of that particular value stream mapping. So key part here is to understand the process well, try to introduce any specific automation tool. I mean, it can be even a simple script or even a Python code, for an example, to automate that particular process. And lastly, with respect to the impact that we can actually give it back to the businesses, might be a labor saving, or might be towards, for an example, efficiency gains for the process, right? So that's what we can actually give it back to the business. So now let's understand how this value stream mapping, attaching this value stream mapping to IAC will actually, give a much bigger picture for the, let's say, for the DTX or for the digital transformation process. So if you see here, when we have a digital transformation process, all the sessions that we are actually hearing from morning, I think it is around continuous validation, testing, observability, reliability, right? I think Sachin was talking about the platform engineering. I think if you look into the agenda or kind of an outcome from all those sessions, it's basically 2 things. One is on the cultural aspects, or rather it is on the technology aspect. And that is what the value stream mapping is going to further help, right? So when you have this benefit around the technology aspects, where it is more around the tool consolidation, using the right tool for the right task, that's part, I mean, that is what it is all about, right? I mean, using a right technology over there. But underneath, by using a right tool, right process, it is going to bring the kind of a good culture within the multiple teams, where they understand what exactly the outcomes are. They understand the process much better, so that the inefficiencies or unwanted manual handoffs can be eliminated, right? So, and that can be happening by doing this value stream mapping, where we even using the tools or the culture, we even understand what the current as is. I mean, when I say as is, this is how the current process is. As of today, what is the current inefficiency, which is something that we are going to do the workshop and try to gauge that particular inefficiency. And later, we are going to actually come back with the 2B model. 2B model in the sense, if I automate this particular process, what will be the expected gains? And based on those value stream mapping metrics, we can prioritize our digital transformation, the programs. Because if there is a process that is going to give me big business benefits, I would rather pick that as a first option rather than the one that gives me a low outcome, for an example. Proceeding further, I think this is one of the slide where I just wanted to bring it. The reason is this is one of the real-time implementation that we have done it for one of the local bank in Singapore. So where we have two different value stream mapping flows, which we call it like as is, and this is to be. So if you see the different blocks here, where we are actually doing the, let's say, the storage provisioning automation, right? So there are multiple teams. One is the request submission phase. We have the Unix team, which does some validation, and we also have the storage team that actually provisions a LAN or creates a volume, for an example. But if you see the as is, they had 14 days of an SLA. The reason is it's a major bank, and they have to create an RFC, wait during the weekend to create that particular volume. And the time that it takes to create a volume on the storage box, it's hardly 15 minutes. But they have to go for the CAB approval, wait till the weekend and carve out that particular volume for the host, right? So that is going to eat up a lot of time, and that's what kind of a 14 days SLA that they had in the ITSM ticket process. And when we did a math on that particular process, the efficiency of that particular as-is process was 21%, or rather 22%. However, when we did the value stream mapping and understood what are all the process inefficiencies or the task inefficiencies that we can eliminate from that particular process, we're able to take that particular process to 70% as an efficiency gain. I mean, if you see the 2B model, I am seeing actually the 70%, 69.65 as the efficiency gain back to the business. And the 14 days SLA is now being brought down to 1.65 days as a kind of an SLA where unwanted or kind of non-validated time is still baked in the process, but we see a drastic shift in the efficiency from 22% to 70%. So this is kind of a real-time implementation that we have done. And all the black color boxes that we see in the 2B model are the steps that are automated. And some of the boxes that are yet marked in different colors are the manual steps that is going to be automated in the near future. So all in all, what we are trying to achieve is when we are looking into multiple applications, being it from the reliability or availability perspective, I think the first thing is to even understand what the process is. More from the development perspective, testing perspective, it can be even from the monitoring or observability perspective. Let's understand the process. Let's understand where the gaps are in the process. Let's try to put that mind map or kind of a whiteboarding session to understand how those loopholes can be fixed before even writing a code. And once we understand those business values, I think the best thing is to actually allocate the right set of team members to start fixing those gaps. So that's the key kind of an outcome from this particular session. And by this particular slide, I would like to wrap up my session and open up the forum for any questions. Thank you.